My Tubishvat, what is today all about? Today is the 15th day of the month of Shvat. Yet it has become so much circled upon Jewish people's calendars. And why? What is special about today? For after all, it is the tree's day to celebrate. It's not ours. We begin to probe the topic, to scour the depths of the day of Tes Vov Bashvat, Tubishvat, Mesechta Rosh Hashana Daf Beis Amud Aleph. Be'echel B'Shvat on the first day of Shvat, Rosh Hashana Le'ilan on the first day of Shvat. The Mishnah tells us is the new year for tree. It is of note that the word is actually a new year for tree, not Chag HaIlan note, but it is actually the Rosh Hashana Le'ilan in singular terms. So interesting deal. Kedivre Beis Shammai, that's Beis Shammai's opinion, but Beis Hillel Oimer B'Chamisha Asar, but it's that 15th day. Hence the name today, the 15th day, Tu B'Shvat, according to Beis Hillel, is why. It is the Rosh Hashana, the new year for trees. What's the Yesod of Machlokes? What does Beis Hillel argue about with Beis Shammai? Hachika Omar, the Gemara elucidating the Machlokes on page Yudalad Amud Aleph. Hachika Omar at the bottom. Afalpi, even though Sharoiv Tekufa Mibachotz, even though most of the winter season is yet to come. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there's still going to be cold days ahead of us. Because most of the rainy days are behind us, therefore it's the new Rosh Hashana Le'ilanos today. The rainy days are behind us, therefore new year for trees. It's still the middle of the winter. So how is it the new year? Why is it the Rosh Hashana for trees? What if the tree doesn't make it? It should be jumping forth the question off the page. It's still the middle of the winter. Why would this be the Rosh Hashana Le'ilanos? Remember this Rashi for life, and I'd like to pull out an idea that I heard from the great Tzaddik HaGoyin, the Rosh Hashiva. We should institute the name HaKadosh afterwards, the Holy One. HaGoyin HaTzadik, Rav Daniel Kalish, Shlita HaKadosh. Here's the Rashi. Listen to this. He's asking your question. Since the rain is over, therefore it's a new year. V'Allah hasaraf be'ilanos. Because now the trees have extrapolated, they've drawn out the sap from the ground. Trees today become adults. Today, they become mature. Today is Tree Independence Day. And we know, says Rabbi Kalish, HaKadosh, that Adam Eitz HaSadeh, man is compared to a tree. There's so much literature about comparing people to a tree. You don't even need to become Kabbalistic to get into it. Adam Eitz HaSadeh. The Mishnah of us tells us we need to have strong roots like a tree so we won't be blown over. Today is the day that no matter what, even though it does still remain cold through the winter, but the tree becomes a self-sustaining organism. It doesn't need the ground anymore to grow. It can become inspired from itself. Therefore, it's the Rosh Hashana Le'ilanos self-sustaining organism. Listen to this Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, Mishnah Yud Daled and Perek Aleph. Rabbeinu Yonah, we spoke about it once. Rabbeinu Yonah is Bavorna. He's explaining the topic of him. If you will not be for yourself, then who will be for you? Says Rabbeinu Yonah, I don't understand. We spoke about this once. People will be for you. The motivation congregation is always going to be there for you. Your Rabbeim are going to be there for you. Your parents are going to be there for you, hopefully. Says Rabbeinu Yonah, because if you don't learn ki as'oris acherim, other people inspiring you, hu lefi hazmanim. That's at the times that they're there. But if you do not learn to inspire yourself, because they're not always going to be there for you. Your parents aren't going to be there at 7 a.m. when you need to get up for Shachris. Your parents or your Rabbeim aren't going to be there in your darkest times when you're alone with your Yetzer Hara. A person's not going to be able to get into his mind and really inspire himself. A person needs to become a self-sustaining, independent organism. You need to create, says the Goyin the Tzaddik HaKadosh Rav Daniel Kalish, a Shabbos project inspire in your own home when you're alone with your wife and kids on Friday night. Your Chavrusha's shaft with yourself alone with your Gemara should look like, or you should be able to recreate, a get-together of a Siyam HaShas, where you're inspired in the base medrash alone by yourself. Today is the day that the trees grow up. Today is the day that although there's cold days ahead of us, it sucks up the sap. It becomes its own self-sustaining, independent tree. Today's Tree Independence Day, and we celebrate for Adam Eitz HaSadeh. Today we grow up. Today we learn that you don't need the motivation congregation. I got myself. I know how to be inspired. Of course, we'll be there for you every single morning, but today is Human and Tree Independence Day. Today, we learn to inspire ourselves. Today, although there are cold days ahead of us, Adam Eitz HaSadeh, We celebrate that we become self-sustaining, inspiring, motivated organisms.